In May 2019, at 2 in the morning outside his Scottsdale condo, Auston Matthews did something that almost ended his shot at ever wearing the C for Toronto. He'd already become the face of the Leafs after scoring 40 goals as a rookie, but the police report that came out 4 months later didn't match the clean image. Since then, he's won Olympic gold, become a legit style icon.
Olympic gold medal, I mean, you can't write it up any better than that. It's awesome.
And gone public with a relationship that had hockey fans buzzing. But the real story isn't the headlines you already saw. It's the lifestyle that connects all of it. And it's not what you think. So, here's the thing about Auston Matthews. He didn't grow up in some frozen Canadian town where kids learn to skate before they can walk. He was born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is basically the desert, where the biggest sports are golf and spring training baseball. His mom, Emma, is Mexican, and his dad, Brian, thought baseball was Auston's best sport because the kid had ridiculous hand-eye coordination.
Obviously proud of where I come from. My mom being Mexican, my dad American. I've always embraced it. And it's definitely pretty unique.
But Auston couldn't stand how slow baseball moved, so he picked hockey instead. That decision alone put him on a completely different path than every other American kid in his neighborhood. He's visited his mother's hometown in Mexico, speaks some Spanish with her, and has talked openly about his Hispanic heritage during National Hispanic Heritage Month. That background is way more than a footnote. It's a huge part of why his story doesn't fit the typical NHL mold. And it's one of the first clues that his lifestyle was never going to be ordinary. Most NHL stars come from towns where hockey is basically religion. But Matthews spent his childhood in Arizona trying to explain to people why he cared more about a frozen rink than a baseball diamond. His mom cried tears of joy the night he scored 4 goals in his NHL debut. That moment meant something extra.
He gets free, shoots, scores! What a goal! Matthews, magnificent!
Because she never expected her son from the desert to become the face of Canada's most famous hockey team.
Emma and Brian, Emma, we saw you crying. I've got to assume those were tears of joy.
That mix of Mexican roots, American upbringing, and Canadian fame is the foundation of a lifestyle that almost nobody saw coming. But before Scottsdale became a footnote in his success story, it became the setting for the moment that almost changed everything. In May 2019 at 2 in the morning, Matthews and some friends stood outside his condominium complex in his hometown when a female security guard filed a complaint that would make national headlines 4 months later. The police report alleged that Matthews attempted to enter the guard's locked car before dropping his pants in front of her, and police charged him with disorderly conduct.
Case surrounding superstar Auston Matthews and his charge of disorderly conduct. Scottsdale, Arizona police have released body cam footage of the interview with the security guard who's pressing charges against him.
The charge landed at a time when everyone expected Matthews to become the next captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it threatened to derail the clean image he spent years building. The incident never fully disappeared, and it remains the most prominent off-ice controversy of his career. When you look at the polished captain and Olympic gold medalist he is today, that moment at 2 in the morning in Scottsdale is the single biggest reminder that his lifestyle hasn't always been clean-cut. News of the charge broke in September 2019, and the timing couldn't have been worse because the hockey world was already talking about him as the future leader of the Leafs. What makes the whole thing even more surprising is that this happened in Scottsdale. It's the same town where he learned to play, the same town his Mexican-American family called home, and the same town that shaped the kid who would eventually represent Toronto. The contrast between that hometown and the scandal that erupted there is exactly why this lifestyle story is so much messier than it looks from the outside. That incident could have been the headline that defined him, but instead, it became a footnote. Fast forward to February 2026, and Matthews wore the C for Team USA at the Winter Olympics in Milan, where he captained the Americans to a gold medal victory over Canada in overtime by a score of 2-1. After the win, he visited the White House, and the whole arc from a police report in Scottsdale to standing in the White House as an Olympic champion is one of the most dramatic redemption stories in hockey. Away from the rink, he's known for his gold chain collection and accessories, and he's talked about Russell Westbrook as a major influence on his style. He's also been an EA Sports NHL cover athlete, which ties him directly into the video game culture that most of his fan base grew up with. The guy who almost lost his captaincy shot because of a disorderly conduct charge is now a fashion icon, a gaming culture fixture, and the leader of an Olympic gold medal team. And that's not the path anyone expected. It's also a big piece of why his lifestyle never stops surprising people. And right there in Milan, while the gold medal was still around his neck, another part of his life surfaced for the first time. In March 2026, just weeks after the Olympic win, Auston Matthews and Vanessa Piunno hard-launched their relationship on Instagram, and hockey fans finally got a look at what had apparently been happening behind the scenes for a while. Piunno isn't some random celebrity or Instagram model who latched onto a hockey star for clout. She's a Vancouver-based skincare specialist and entrepreneur who built her own business in the beauty space before anyone knew she was dating the captain of the Maple Leafs. She posted photos from their time in Milan, celebrating the gold medal win, and she called the whole experience a month to remember forever, which is exactly the kind of caption that tells you this wasn't some casual fling. The timing is actually pretty interesting, because it looks like they kept the relationship completely private during the entire Olympic run, then hard-launched it during the victory celebration in Italy. That strategy alone says a lot about how they handle the spotlight, and it's a lot more deliberate than the usual hockey relationship drama you see splashed across social media. In July 2026, they took it another step forward by attending Frederik Andersen's wedding together in Copenhagen, which means she's already part of his circle of teammates and NHL friends. Most hockey wags get attention because of who they're dating, but Piunno had already built something independent before the relationship went public, and that changes the whole picture. She's Canadian, which is a fun twist since Matthews plays for Team USA, yet his heart apparently belongs to a Canadian entrepreneur from the West Coast. The fact that she waited until after the Olympic gold to go public also shows respect for his career that you don't always see, and it makes the whole relationship feel more grounded than the typical celebrity pairing. So, we've covered the controversy, the redemption, and the relationship. Now we need to look at what all this actually costs, and the numbers where the lifestyle story gets even more unreal. Matthews currently lives in a high-end Toronto residence, and while the exact square footage and address aren't public, every report points to a luxury setup that matches what you'd expect from a guy pulling in over $13 million a year. That same money shows up in his garage, where his car collection includes a 2020 Porsche 911 Carrera S, and reports suggest additional exotic and premium cars that fit the profile of a superstar in his financial bracket. His endorsement portfolio has included brands like Gatorade, Upper Deck, Polo Ralph Lauren, Chipotle, and Prime Hydration. All of that adds serious money on top of his NHL salary. His current contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs is a 4-year deal worth $53 million, which breaks down to an average annual value of $13.25 million. His next NHL deal in 2028 could exceed $20 million per year for up to 8 years, which would be a whopping $160 million. Future earnings look extremely strong because he's in the prime of his career. He's the captain of one of the NHL's most valuable franchises, and his brand keeps growing. Every time he scores another highlight reel goal, his value climbs a little higher. Matthews transformed from a Scottsdale kid with a police report into a multi-million Olympic champion. And that transformation is exactly why his lifestyle keeps catching people off guard. If you want to see how another star lives off the ice, check out the Macklin Celebrini video next. Subscribe for more NHL lifestyle content like this.